Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. It's me, Eric, one of the education specialists for Easton Bank's Learning and Life Center, and we are in the garden once again. Before we get into today's video, which has a lot of good information for you for this summer, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment, share this video, and do not forget to click the notification bell to be notified of when we drop new videos, which is every single week. In today's video, as you can kind of ascertain from the title, we are talking about the 5 top tasks that you need to complete right now in the month of June before we move into hotter weather in your garden. Okay, so we're talking about trellising, the different types of trellising, the purpose of trellising, harvesting times, planting, succession sowing, all of that good stuff. So when you're tying up your trellises and you really want to do it now, especially because we're getting a lot of rain, where we are in zone 8B, so we're getting a lot of rain, a lot of heat, and during this time the plants really take off, especially your tomatoes. So we have to come through, and if you could just come in a little closer, you'll see that we have a lot of extensions coming from this main stem. And so what we want to do is try to trim down what we have, because if not, the plant will put out too many flowers and too many extensions, meaning that they're going to be using too much energy. So we're going to clip here. Sadly, I know it's a lot. It looks painful because you're losing out on so many flowers, but what you're going to get is such beautiful fruit. So we have this fruit growing here. We have 3 tomatoes, and look how big they are already. So we want to make sure that the plant is delineating the proper amount of energy to go to each possible fruit and each possible flower. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tie up these tomatoes to the trellis without injuring any of the current tomatoes that are already growing. This summer, you want to make sure that you are properly timing all of your succession sowing. So we started our peppers in, I think, February. It was the 2nd or 3rd week of February when we started our peppers. They take a longer time than most plants to germinate and to grow to a mature size in order for you to get them in your garden. So that's why we start them so early. And we made sure to do at least 7 different varieties, and we did a few of each variety. That way we had enough to get us at least started for the spring planting time or planting season. And at least, I think a month later, we started a few more varieties of peppers. And this is what I mean by succession sowing. So like I said, we started our first round of peppers in February. They gave them a month to grow, and as they got to be like 5-6 inches tall, we started our second round of peppers. And so right now we have our second round of peppers about to go in the garden. Today is June 17th, and though it may seem like a short amount of time for them to get acclimated in their new home and start producing fruit, this is the best time to get your second to last round of peppers in the ground, because before you know it, we're going to be right in fall, and you're going to be starting your alliums, your onions, garlic, leeks, and all of your cool weather crops. So that's why succession sowing is so important, because you always have time to grow more food, but you also are able to grow replacements for any of the plants in your garden that may succumb to any disease or pests. And while we're on the topic of pests, this year in the garden, we are dealing with Japanese beetles, cucumber beetles, squash bugs, and leaf-footed bugs, as well as vine borers. So we have a multitude of pests, including aphids, but we also have beneficial insects like our parasitic wasp that attack hornworms. We haven't seen any hornworms, so fingers crossed that we don't have to deal with them this year. We also have a bunch of ladybugs in the garden, and we have bumblebees, butterflies. So we are creating an ecosystem where we don't have to handle the pests too much, but we want to keep the numbers down to a manageable amount. But you also want to create an ecosystem in your garden that allows for beneficial insects to come in and eat the pests that you may be dealing with. That way, you don't have to introduce any harmful sprays, even though some may be organic. If you want to have the best garden possible, limiting what you introduce into your garden helps a ton. So we're actually going to harvest, and during the summer months you want to make sure that you are constantly in your garden, whether it's early in the morning or later in the evening or midday. Whenever you can get in your garden and do some harvesting. Okay, so over here we have cucumbers. We have like our main cucumber and squash patch over here, and a lot of the pollinators do come over here in this area. So I like to take my time because there could be bees in here, you know, getting their pollen. There are no cucumbers ready yet here, so we're gonna move over this way. I'm still wondering if I should even harvest these. I think I'm gonna harvest the biggest ones here. So these could be like bite-sized cucumbers that you'd like snack on. Moving over here, we don't have any beans or tomatoes or cucumbers ready yet. But if you come this way around, you'll see that there are some, like, I would say average size, not average, but like sized zucchini. These are gray zucchini that you can actually use the flowers, which are edible, and use them in your dishes. But we're gonna harvest this because I will not be in town for a few days, and if you leave your squash on the vine too long, like a max of 3+ days, they will get too big, and that will signal to your plant that, oh, I'm done doing everything that I need to do. So we have zucchini. I think I'm gonna also harvest this, even though I don't know. We'll leave it. Just trying to peek in. There are cucumbers growing, and there are some little bugs in here mating. Down there, I think those are squash beetles. Got to get rid of those. But over here, what I really wanted to show you guys, oh, little bumblebee, the large squash in here. So sometimes you'll see discolored squash in your garden. This is a result of poor pollination. This happens when your squash does not get pollinated properly, and I'm going to show you the difference. So we have this squash here, right? This big, lovely, average size squash. We could let it get bigger, but this is a perfect eating size squash. So you can see the stark difference between this squash here and this one. This one got pollinated perfectly by the pollinators, whether that be honeybees or bumblebees, ants, wasps, butterflies, but this one did not. So we're just gonna sit that on top and let it compost in place in the bed like we do with all of our other vegetables. And later this week, I'll come and just put all of this compost material here and directly underneath the soil. Like this summer is going to be a very hot one. So, one recommendation that I would definitely give anyone watching this video or that will watch this video is to make sure that your garden constantly has a good amount of mulch that will collect water and maintain a substantial amount of water in the soil, especially during very hot and dry days. Right now, we're averaging out 80-degree weather, a bit above 80 degrees. Sometimes we're like touching 90 degrees and it feels like 90 because the humidity is very high, especially because we're getting all of this rain, and the rain just adds to that humidity, and so it can feel very muggy. It can feel sticky outside, and sometimes when you have wind with that, it dries out your soil even quicker. So make sure that you are using mulch. You can use wood chips if you do the wood chip drop process, and or you could also use straw, which we typically use in our gardens. And the straw really helps, especially when you do 3 to 4 inches of it. And you also use oyas or terracotta spikes, which we use in the garden. And all of those do is seep water into your soil if it's dry gradually. So doing those two things and just staying on top of your watering really helps your garden and the plants overall.
I'll put some water in my garlic.
Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. We hope you learned something regarding the 5 tests to complete right now in the month of June before we get into our hotter season of summer. And make sure to, again, subscribe, like, and comment, share this video, and follow us on our socials. We can be found on Facebook and Instagram at EBLLCINC and on TikTok at Project Grape. And we will see you all later in the garden. Bye.